Yeah. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh. Ba'ashem. Yahweh Shai. Ba'ashem. Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. The elder apostles in Connecticut. To the bishops, the priests, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching the truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawada with the lesson. And Israel has lost, right? Right? This is the days of, of geopolitics. And they're speaking about it, right? And, let's go into it.
Netanyahu has his country on a path that cannot succeed. Not that may not that probably won't, but that cannot succeed. Israel is basically trying to solve a problem that needed a surgeon's scalpel. And Evan said chosen to use like a 20-pound sledgehammer by killing so many people and literally destroying the entire infrastructure of the Gaza Strip and the 2.3 million people or thereabouts that are still alive in it. They can't even maintain life there. They can just exist right now. You will never be able to kill your way to success, and that is exactly what Netanyahu's trying to do.
The war in Gaza has reached a new level of destruction, and the path that Netanyahu is taking his country on has never been more dangerous for the long-term future of Israel. If you think I'm exaggerating, or this is really a war against Hamas, take a look at this video from an American doctor who just returned from Gaza and the horrifying truth he details to this reporter.
Quite literally, every day I was there, I saw a child shot in the head. That's not an accident. That's deliberate targeting of children for death. That's murder.
For the first time in modern history, 100% of an entire population is dependent on humanitarian need, food, and supplies for survival.
Right. So, as you could see, things are basically going the way the Lord wanted to go. Things is not looking good for the self-proclaimed so-called white man. Starting with Amalek, right? Because he's the chief of all the heathens, right? So it says baldness is come upon Gaza, right? That's what you're fighting over, right? And they're basically blowing Gaza to smithereens right now. Ashkelon is cut off, right? And you so-called Jewish are getting cut off, man. With the remnant of her valleys, right? Right? So all these things are starting to come against you, right? And because you're heathens, you're heathens in the land of our forefathers, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man, right? Which is, it's not Israel, it's actually Yasharahla, right? So you're being cut off right along with it. With Gaza, how you're doing these things, it's actually it's your Achilles heel, right? So to speak. How long wilt thus cut thyself? See? At the end of the day, you're just cutting yourself, man. That's it. It says, oh, the sword of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, how long will thus be ere thus be quiet? How long will it bear thus be quiet? Put up thyself into thy cabrod, right? Let's look that word up. It's cabrod, right? Scabbard. Let's see.
Scabbard.
Oh, scabbard. Okay. Scabbard. A sheath for a blade, right? Oh, like a holster, kind of like, thing that your blade or your sword. It says of a sword, a blade or sword, a dagger, typically leather, right? Normally, you have that leather pouch that your sword or blade goes into, or dagger goes into, the little holster, right? Yeah, a sheath for a gun or other weapon or tools, right? Because that's you. You're the weapon of the world, right? Because it's all you do. All you do know how to do is destroy, man, right? Esau, Edom. All you know how to do is destroy, right? Yeah, so scabbard, that's weird. I never really hear that word too much, right? So, but scabbard basically means a sheath, or basically like a holster, right? It says, rest and be still, right? Because it's supposed to be so-called, all this, you're supposed to fulfill prophecy, right? And in fulfilling prophecy, there should be peace in the Middle East, right? There should be peace in the Middle East, because once you fulfill prophecy, the Lord said that there should not even be learned of war anymore. There should be peace in the land, right? But there's no peace because you're not the people. You're not the Israelites. How can it be quiet seeing Yahweh has given it a charge against Ashkelon, right? Against, the land of Israel, right? Because that's where you're so-called dwelling in, right? You're dwelling in the land. And the Lord said it can't be quiet with a bastard dwelling in that land. And against the seashores, there had he appointed it. So all of this is the Lord has appointed for you to basically fall into your own demise, right? You set up a demise for other people, but it's going to be your own destruction that you have set for yourself. Technically, you have dug a ditch for someone else, and you're going to fall into it, right? Yeah, so this is Psalms 141, right? Psalms 141, verse 9. Keep me from the snares which they have laid for me, right? Because ultimately that's what you have, these international bankers, these G20 summit meetings, these World Economic Forum meetings, right? The UN passed bills where you give the UN power over your own country, right? when the UN has never been done nothing, and no one's elected the UN, no one's voted, which voting is a fraud anyway. It's you don't really get a vote, right? But it's supposed to be a country of the people, by the people, and it's been anything but that, by you giving everything over to the UN, right? So keep me from the snares which they have laid for me, and the jinns, right, which is the same thing. It's a snare, it's a trap. Jinn is a trap of the workers of iniquity, and that's all you work, Amalek. And that's why all you're going to do is just cut yourself. All this cutting down the Gaza, killing all those people, at the end of the day, it's cut you. Now the Arab people of that is stronger than ever, right? They're staying together. The Carmenians, they're sticking together, man. I mean, not the Carmenians, but the dragons of Arabia, Salakia, right? The dragons of Arabia are starting to stick together, right? Which are the Ishmaelites, right? It says, let the wicked fall into their own nets. See? And this whole thing is a big thing where you're just going to fall into your own net, right? Some wilts that I withal escape, will thus at all escape, will thus that I withal escape, right? So you're hoping that you can escape these things, man. But only the elect of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is going to escape the treacheries of your plans, man. Right?
Place. Let's begin. Everyone, once again, very honored to have Danny Davis here in the studio. And Danny, I want to talk to you about what I feel is really the biggest potential war threat, and that is certainly the Middle East right now. We're looking at Israel. We are looking at really a tipping point with Netanyahu, his leadership. There are protests going on in Israel. There's a tremendous amount of instability in that region. And again, we're looking at another forever war that the United States is firmly embedded in. Just give me your general thoughts right now as you're looking at this conflict in the Middle East. Israel, Hamas, Palestine, Gaza. I was reminded, pulled back up an old clip of a CNN interview I did in November of last year, so about a month into the war. And I very emphatically said at that time that Netanyahu has his country on a path that cannot succeed. Not that may not that probably won't, but that cannot succeed. Based on my personal experience of 4 total combat deployments, 3 of which were in counterinsurgency type environments here, he has committed his country to a political objective, which is the destruction of Hamas and bring peace and security to the people of Israel with military means in a way that is militarily unattainable, that he's not going to get it done. And it is played out in spades, exactly the way that I feared that it would, in that Israel is basically trying to solve a problem that needed a surgeon's scalpel, and have instead chosen to use like a 20-pound sledgehammer. And what that does is, by killing so many people and literally destroying the entire infrastructure of the Gaza Strip and the 2.3 million people or thereabouts that are still alive in it, rendering them completely incapable of self-sustainment. And everything has been destroyed. They can't even maintain life there. They can just exist right now. Right. Now, what human being on the planet is going to be content living in that situation? Right. So you've gone in there and said Hamas was the terrorist enemy that launched the war on October 7th, and certainly that part is true, but the war didn't start on October 7th. It exploded then. It started decades before that, and even in the summer before the thing started, the Israeli Defense Forces had killed more than 200 Palestinians in all kinds of violence that had been going on, and it just turned it into a cauldron, which then exploded on October 7th. And so now then you have Netanyahu
wanting to, quote, destroy Hamas by just killing just randomly tens of thousands, scores of thousands of innocent civilians as well. The official told somewhere over north of 40,000, but a British Lancet report came out a month or so ago, says it's probably closer to 200,000 when you count all the deaths attributable to the war. What do you think the people who are...
Yeah, so this is Al Jazeera News. Gaza total could exceed 186,000, right? So it's close to that number. It's damn near about to be 200,000, right? Lancet students say the students found factors like disease will lead to many more indirect deaths in the long run, even if the war stops now. So it's damn near to 200,000. So, and the war hasn't stopped. So, you know, it's going to be well over 200,000, right? So the, you know, this is Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 7, right? Because ultimately, you know, this, you know, and Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakal Kodash, thy power will put all these curses upon thee, thy enemies, right? Because what? These Edomites, right? They basically have gotten into that land, right? Took the land upon themselves, right? The Lord said you were going to do that, and you did it, right? So, but now that we're coming back as the true children of Yasha Allah, right? The Lord said that He will put these curses upon our enemy when we return and repent, right? The true men of the Lord, the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, and the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through our father, which goes back from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? It's a bloodline lineage, not just, you know, you woke up and decided to be, you know, whatever because you read a letter, right, that pertained to a certain particular people, which have nothing to do with you. Right? Because it's the world's greatest sold book doesn't mean it was meant to be for you. Right? Right? Even the Lord said to the woman at the well, which proved that she was an Israelite, said, salvation is of the Jews. What is it for you? Salvation is of the Jews. He said, you who not worship nor there, because she wasn't able to worship in the temple then. And he said, you won't worship in the kingdom to come. Why is that? Because she's a heathen. She's going to be the outside the courts, right? The outside the courts is for the heathens, right? So, but because we're raising up, the Lord said, and Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies, right? Which Amalek is our enemy, right? Esau, Edom is our enemy. All you other nations are our enemy, but starting with Amalek, Esau, Edom, and them that hate thee, right? So that's all you other nations, which persecuted thee, right? The true Israelites, man, right? Because we're coming back, right? Because it says, and, right, to prove, because we're coming back, because you're not coming back and you're not being righteous. Where's your, like all these people like to say, where your righteous works at, right? The Lord said, I should know you you should know the person by the fruit of their tree. Why is none of these people looking at the fruit of these people tree, man? Right? World War I is because of you. World War II is because of you. And guess what? World War III is going to be because of you. Amalek, Small Hatter, right? You wish person, right? All these world wars, and it's going to be the last world war. And it's going to be because of you. But it's also what? Our redemption. It says, and thus shall return, right? And that's what we've been doing. and obey the voice of Yahweh, the Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakal Kadash, and do all his commandments, which that's what we're doing, man. We're out there on the highways and the byways, and we're doing these digital epistles, which I command thee this day, man. And that's where we're at this very day, doing what it takes. So now all these curses are going to come upon our enemies, right? Yeah, so this is Deuteronomy 28:15. But it shall come to pass, if thus wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, thy power, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day. And Esau haven't listened, man. Esau had the Bible, right? You had full understanding of who we are, right? That's how you knew to go to Europe and capture us. That's how you knew to go to west coast, the western part of Africa, to grab us. That's how you knew that our brothers, you know, the so-called, what you call Puerto Ricans, what you call Mexicans, what you call Native Americans, Cubans, Dominicans, right? Which you know that's our brothers, right? You knew that they were our brothers. That's how you knew through our book, because you had it, right? You had the whole entire Bible, right? That's exactly why Columbus said he knew that the world wasn't flat, and it wasn't because he was this great genius. It's because he read the Apocrypha, right? Right? And it says, and that's what you have in it. You've never hearkened to the voice of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, all the way back to the Garden of Eden. You being, you know, going back to, you know, Cain, right? Right? Which is Kwayan, meaning weapon. And that's all you're good for, man, is using your weaponry. And that's what you're doing. And it's going to cause you to fall upon your own self, right? Upon your own snares, your own trap. And you never hearken to the voice of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, which is ultimately, he's the power of the whole universe. But he's meant to be for the, you know, the Israelites, right? But he's the power, man, to observe all his commandments, right? And his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses, right? See, now it's going to come upon you, shall come upon thee and overtake thee. See, and you ain't going to be able to put this off. So now you have gotten yourself in a war, and that war, there ain't no coming back. You can't. There's no going. Oh, you know what? Never mind. You know what? We're gonna help the Palestinian people build their land, and we'll help build it. Even if you stop now, there's far too many deaths, right? Yeah. So this is Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 5, because thus has had a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, right? So-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, right? You sought to kill us, right? You seek to kill us on a daily basis, right? And then even amongst those Palestinians, even though those are Ishmael, or even some of them might even be Edomites, right? But there are Israelites among them. So even in that, you're piling up a basically a judgment against yourself, right? Right, because some of them are Israelites amongst those Palestinians, right? The Lord said, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm, right? So you're touching the Lord's anointing. You're touching, right? Because you don't, that's why you're not supposed to do that. Because you don't know who's Israelite or who's not. That's why even the Lord told us to wait for him. Because we don't know what's what, right? And you hate us, man, by the force of the sword, and in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end, man. And one thing I think about all the time when our iniquity had an end is, back in the 60s, when the late 50s, early 60s, right, when they started introducing heroin into the so-called black communities, right, because that's when all the Jakes was dressing nice. They had suits and ties. They were well behaved, well mannered, right? Everybody went to church. They stayed in their own communities, had their own jobs in hospitals and schools and doctors and lawyers and even police officers within their own neighborhood. But you didn't even want that, right? You didn't like it because they were doing good and peaceful, and you didn't like that. So you busted that up, brought in Martin Lucifer Coon, and brought in a bunch of different stage acts to get people all riled up, so they can say, "Hey, yeah, we want to integrate within your system, so therefore we can make you even more rich." As if working for free and making this country rich wasn't enough, right? It says, therefore, as I live, right? We're talking about Yahweh, right? Because, hey, he lives. That's a living power. He is, or the existing one, means he lives, man. Saith Yahweh, power, Bashem Yahweh Shai, I will prepare thee unto blood, right? See? And you do all this killing around the world, and you just laying a snare in the trap for yourself. So the Lord said, hey, since you're doing all these things, I will prepare thee for blood, and blood shall pursue thee, saith, since thus has not hated blood. So, hey, all you talking about 200,000 Palestinians, 200 million or something Native American, about 200 million so-called black people, about 100 something million so-called Native Americans, so-called Mexicans, which are really Israelites, right? You've killed by the boatload. Not to mention Vietnam and Afghanistan, Desert Storm, what's some of these other wars? I mean, you had so many, right? Right? The war against Taliban, right? So many wars. Just, I mean, we'll be here all day if we sat here and named all the wars and the bloodshed that you have put on this earth. So the Lord said, "Seeth, thus has not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee." Right? It says, "Thus will I make Mount Seir," right? Which that's you Edomites. You're Mount Seir, most desolate. See, you're falling into your own trap, man. The Lord's going to make you most desolate and cut off from him that passeth out and him that returneth, right? So whether you're going into the land of Israel, right, so-called, or coming out, hey, things is happening to you, right? You're the all scoring of the world now, right? Nobody likes you, right? It says, I will fill his mountains with the slain. See, which you're gonna go into the valley of Yehoshaphat, man. The Lord's gonna fill that mountain, right? Which is the mountain of troops, the mountain of judgment, the mountain of troops. Is gonna fill it with your slain men in the hills and in the valleys and in all the rivers, right? Because you're gonna go to World War III. World War III is imminent. See, now you can't put it off. No matter what you did right now, even like this, even if the war stopped, it's gonna cause too many deaths, and this is, guess what? It's gonna cause too much grief, too much strife, right? And shall they fall that are slain with the sword? See, right? So if people ain't dying from the diseases and the bad water, they're gonna die by the sword. So things are gonna cook up, man. Right? It is escalating.
What do you think the people who are surviving so far are going to think when their wives, their children, their mothers, their brothers, whatever, are killed, especially the men, by Israel? Whatever they may have thought of Hamas, if they weren't some of those reportedly 30,000 people that were fighters of Hamas, and they're being killed because Israel's coming in and just wiping out everything, who do you think they're going to be mad at? Hamas or the guys who pulled the trigger and dropped the bombs? Of course, it's the latter. So you have now created so many more enemies than ever existed in Israel before that. And that's just within the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. So there is more anger and hatred toward Israel now than ever existed on October 7th. So even if they're not called Hamas, and even if you kill the fighters who were wearing the green bandanas and whatever else they identified as Hamas, and let's say that somehow you magically killed them all. Now then, all of their family members and all the men of the women and children and wives and mothers and daughters and sisters that have been killed are now hating Israel and want revenge. So they will definitely keep the resistance going up against Israel, especially all the people. Their entire way of life has been completely destroyed. I mean, you see those videos. They're just heartbreaking that you see every day of entire city blocks being turned to dust. And there's nothing that's functioning. I mean, the school system is non-existent. I mean, even electricity, water, and sewer has been destroyed. There's no shops. There's no farming, no agriculture. There's nothing. Everything that they had used to sustain life has now either been just damaged or destroyed. And so the anger, the palpable anger that creates within Israel, now we're talking about, is just through the roof. So you will never be able to kill your way to success, and that is exactly what Netanyahu's trying to do. And of course, this has ripple effects in the region as well, as, there's lots of hatred of Israel among, some of these violent extremist groups that have been kind of had their crosshairs on the United States, but now then they're willing to look elsewhere. You have the Houthis, of course, down in Yemen, and all the stuff that's happened with the Red Sea. You have Hezbollah, and all that's being fired. You still are waiting to this day to find out what Iran's going to do because of the assassination of Hania in Tehran a month or so ago. Yeah, that's right. So you see, everything is just, the temperature keeps boiling higher and higher because of the course of action chosen by Benjamin Netanyahu. It will not bring peace to Israel. It will bring more instability and violence. Yeah, Danny, thank you for the good overview.
Yeah, so this is Genesis chapter 16, verse 11. And the angel of Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham Rakal Kodash, said unto her, Behold, which means feature eyes, look, pay attention, thus art with child, and shall bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael, right? Which those people that you're battling with, those Palestinians, the what do they call Yemen? Hamas, Yemen, all them people. Those are or Ishmael, right? Because Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai, have heard thy affliction, right? So this is talking to Hagar, right? Which became basically a wife, right? A lesser wife of our father Abraham, right? Which was a heathen. She's a heathen wife, so she's a lesser wife. Yeah, right. Because you're not gonna equal up to being part of the covenant. You're not part of the covenant. You're not part of the promises of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You're just a lesser wife, right? And it says, and then your child was not meant to be part of the promise, right? Because that's not part of that seed line. Out of Isaac shall thy seed be called, right? And the Lord put by Esau and chose Yaquab, which you call Jacob, which is later and called Yasha'Allah, which you guys call Israel, right? And it says, and he will be a wild man. See, this is future tense. What the Lord is speaking of her, which we're talking about future tense. So much so that this is Genesis. This is the beginning, but He's telling you the end, right? The time that we're at right now to this very day, right? Because it's making those people upset. You're killing their children. You're wiping out their way, the stabilities of life. So even if you stop now, which you can't, because the Lord ain't going to let you put it off. These curses have come upon thee, and you should not be able to. They should overcome thee and take thee. He's going to come and take you, and you can't put it off, right? And he will be a wild man. See, Ishmael, talking about Ishmael, giving an understanding, his characteristics, what he's going to be. He's going to be a wild man. His hand will be against every man. See, going into this third war's war, and every man against him, right? And this war, and they're used to it, right? They've been warring for years, right? And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren, right? And you hear about them all the time, right? So he's right slap dab in the middle of all, in the thick of it, right in the middle of all of it. Israel's on one side, Hamas is on the other side, Yemen's on the other side. Right slap dab. What's the other group? I know it's Hamas, Yemen, Houthis. Yeah, the Houthis. And the Houthis is there, man. Forget about it, right? That's them, man. That's present day right now. They're in the presence of their brethren, man. And they see, oh, wait a minute. We the same people. And now they're starting to understand, hey, and we're stronger together. Now they're going to come against you. Now they hate you. Collectively. 15, verse 29 says, where the nations of the dragon of Arabia, see now they're starting to come together, those nations, right? You got the Houthi rebels, you got the Hamas, the Yemen. So these are all Arabians, right? Or Ishmaelites, right? And they're all coming together. Shall come out with many chariots, right? So these are war instruments, right? And the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind. See, yeah, this has got to be vehicles, man, because you ain't talking about going slow, right? Carry as the wind, man. They're gonna come up on you pretty fast, and you're gonna probably ain't gonna know what hit you upon the earth. That all they which hear of them may fear and tremble. And what you already have, they already said there are 2 million so-called Jewish people that left the land of what they call Israel, right? 2 million of them Jewish people have left. Also, the Carmanians. See, and who said that the Bible not real. Who said that the Apocrypha is not canon, man? This is what's happening right now. Literally right now. The Iran has joined them. A matter of fact, Iran is funding them, right? Let me get back to why I'm saying that, because we go look up that word Carmanians. That Carmanian, the word Carmanian goes back to Persia, and Persia is the original name of Iran, right? Because Iran is actually fairly new. Those people are actually the Persians, right? So also the Carmanian, or the Persians, or Iran, however you want to say it, ragging with wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the woods, man. Hey, and wild boars, hey, they will attack you, man. And they move pretty fast. And they're ferocious, man. They grab you like pit bulls, man. And shake you and slash you with their tusk. Right? A wild boar is nothing to be played with, man. Right? And with great power shall they come and join battle. Right? See, they're joining. I mean, who said the Apocrypha is not canon? That is exactly what's happening right now. You just had what was it? First it was the Hamas? Hamas was shooting fire on you. Then they had the Houthis, right? Shoot, and then just recently you had more than 200 missiles came from Iran, so they joined them. So if this ain't the Bible being played out, or even the Apocrypha, which you try to say is not canon, being played out right before your eyes, live and in living color, I don't know what is, right? And there's more to come, because this is just the beginning. Because even if they stop, there'd be so many more people that died, right? And you're just going to anger the people. So people are very angry right now. And they're join the battle, and join the battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians, right? Which is America, right? Because America is the modern day Assyrians, right? So missiles are going to get shot and turn America into a desert, into a wasteland, right? Then the dragons shall then shall the dragons have the upper hand. Oh, see, they're gonna have the upper hand over you, Israelis, right? Balfour Declarationese, right? And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature. And what was their nature? Being a wild man, going back into Genesis, what the Most High said. These guys are fit for war, for battle, right? And if they shall turn themselves conspiring together in great power. See, they're coming together. Hey, they also, hey, look, let's get it, man. We tired of this. Conspiring together in great power to persecute them. See, you persecuted us, but the Lord said, hey, give unto them what they gave to you, but give unto them what? Double. So now you're going to get double trouble, man. Right? So with all that, I'm going to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Ruach HaKodesh. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, to the apostles that's in Connecticut, to the bishops, the priests, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence and a Bible ball.